more and wanting to be more, a better version of yourself. Our launcher here today is Mr. Aliu S.L. Darboe. You're most welcome on stage. And so if you're joining us now, this is the official launching of the book, The Battle of Beliefs. We will go straight into the program, having Mr. Khalifa Jabi to give the opening remarks. Mr. Jabi, you're welcome on stage.
You got me right on the spot. I wasn't expecting this. I don't know whether the...
You'll be fine. Bismillah.
I don't know. I wasn't expecting this. So I don't know whether I will be able to even give a better opening statement, because it has been a very, very tense, focus for me this morning. Understandably, it always baffles people when I tell them that both Muhammad and I were together in Armitage. We barely did even know each other's name, let alone share a word. When we were all together in Armitage, I didn't even know there was somebody in Armitage called Muhammad Darboe, and he didn't even know there was somebody in Armitage called Khalifa Jabi. So many people, those that were with us in Armitage, always ask, how did you become friends with Muhammad? When in Armitage, you were in fact hardly seen together. Fast forward after our graduation from Armitage, both Muhammad and I realized that we share so many things in common. We share an undiluted love for writing with a greater passion to write. We also share a common interest to read with a long-term ambition to be one day read by many people. And today we are here to realize the fulfillment of one of those dreams. I don't know whether it is deliberate, but the common denominator in Muhammad's first book, Believed, is also the metaphor that has always been used by him to catapult him to whatever that he is doing in life. I have interacted with many young Gambians, both in academic world and other settings, but I haven't seen anybody who believes so much in himself than Muhammad. He believes in his talent, he believes in whatever he does. Maybe that is why he always surprised many people with the different choices that he makes in life, when he always excels in them with little expectations from people. So today we are here to witness a history that he is about to make, a history that I knew he will one day make the first day we met back in the days. Having proofread, edited, and in fact sometimes reviewed some books written by many young Gambians. In all humility, I think I reserve somehow a little pedigree to give a judgment on a book from a literary perspective and also from an editorial perspective. And when I made this thing for the first day that Muhammad sent me the raw version of this manuscript, I told him that idea to turn even or to change even a word from this manuscript. Because once I do that, I am going to change the exact meaning of whatever you want to write. That is how confident I am in Muhammad. That is how I believe that he was only doing that to respect the rules of writing, to ensure that every product that is being written passes through an editorial board. I told him that this has already passed all the test of time. Yeah. That is the battle of belief for us. Muhammad's penchant for doing things that are always different from the way people do it today. He told me that we are going to do a book launch that is different from a mainstream Gambian book launch. That is why, in our setting, what we are most of the time used to is to have a book launch where people will be invited to come and give keynote addresses that are not in fact related with the book. Muhammad is saying, no, let us invite experts in different fields as per the themes that are contained in the book so that they can come and have dialogue with the people. In literature, there is what we refer to as the death of an author. Mohammed said, we must uphold that. Now I have written a book, give it out to experts, let them interact with the material, and let them give their own perspective of the book. So that is why today we are having a dialogue, not only a book launch. And then from Mohammed to all of you that are here, starting from our panelists, uh, he really appreciates the support that we gathered from the first day that he announced that he is about to have a book being released. Mohammed's initial plan was, let us not launch the book, let us just give the books to people anyhow that they want. We are not looking for any profit in this thing. We just want to produce a material that will always serve as a reference material for those that are interested in literature, for those that are interested in our social political history. So today we have Mr. Fode FM Silla here. In those days, as a Jahanka myself, we are not allowed to go to Western education. But today, we are not only going to Western education, but we are also trying to set example for many young people. So, on behalf of Mohammed, we appreciate your presence there. Just like our moderator said, any one of us that is so much interested in the socio-political landscape of our country will always be an ardent follower of Coffee Time and other contemporary talk shows in town. And then having Mr. Mane here, when we first read the book and then we established the different thematic areas that we have in the book, there is no better person that we believe can come and give us a narrative that is going to resonate with what we want more than Mr. Mane. So Mr. Mane, on behalf of Muhammad, we also appreciate your coming here. From Mr. Mane, we have someone who is not a stranger to whatever that we discussed here. But today, it will interest many of you to know that we invite Mr. Jabate here, not only to come and give us his perspective on human rights, on social political histories and whatsoever that is happening in this country, but the narrative technique that we use in our book, the usage of a traditional griot to narrate what transpired in this country. We believe that we needed somebody who have that background to easily connect with the traditional griot systems in our country to give us the perspective. We realize that these are things that are gradually fading from our society. So we are like, let us invite Mr. Jobani to see how best he can connect with us with that history that we have and then also narrate it today. So Mr. Jobani, we hope that those of us that come from Nyani and how we revert griots in our settings in Nyani, you will also do as expected, and then we appreciate your comment. And from Mr. Jobane, we have somebody that both women and I always look up to when we want inspiration. Growing up, Mr. Musaba is somebody that whose works in literature always inspire us to read. I remember I used to argue with my postmates at the university that I have never seen a book written by a Gambian that is at the same level with Mr. Bass Bejet. Those of you that comes from Nusrat, I don't need to elaborate more on this. Bejet is always there on top for us. Even today, when I wake up every time, that is a book that I always look up to read, to at least develop myself and also understand it and then literature. So Mr. Bass, we thank you for producing those materials to us, and then we hope the understanding that you have in those literatures and the areas that we are going to discuss today also help us in our today's discussion. And I welcome you here on behalf of Muhammed. From Mr. Ba, we have our UK trained gender activist or gender specialist. Mohammed does not only want to give us a material that have social political commentary, but a material that will also reflect on the society that we live in. That is why at the latter part of the book, we have issues that have to deal with gender issues and how society portrays gender. That is why when we look around, we believe that we need a young voice, a female voice, to also give what we refer in literature as a gender lens. So, Madam Jene, we welcome you here. From another, we have Mr. Darboe. The only unfortunate thing about the vision is Darboe. You would have given him a job vision indeed. So, Mr. Darboe, Mohammed comes from home. He comes from a village. He comes from people that always raised him, that always inspired him. So when we need somebody to at least help us in marketing the book, to help us in launching the book, to help us in giving the official publication of this book, Muhammed tell me that I need somebody that comes from my home, so that when we go back at the end of the day, he will also know that there is somebody from Buren who is also doing something great. That is why when we look around, we always come to the conclusion that there is only one person that we can go in for, and that is Mr. Darboe. Mr. Darboe, it is a pleasure to have you also here. And then from there, we have the family of Muhammad. Literally, I am also part of them. I have built up them. There's nothing in Muhammad's family that I am not much involved. So I am representing them here today, even though we have his elder brothers here, but I'm also one of his elder brothers representing him here. So it is a pleasure to have all of you here, our audience, and then we hope that our today's interaction with you, because we do not only call it a book launch, our today's interaction with you is going to be a fruitful discussion from Muhammad and any other individual that is being attached to Muhammad in organizing this very important occasion. We wish to welcome you, and then we also wish to officially declare this program open. Thank you.
Dulu aja. Oh, but okay, because no one can catch idea, but thank you so much, Mr. Jabi. That was a brilliant welcoming remarks, and I'm sure we all learned a thing or two, especially on the esteemed guests here he has introduced. In our midst also we have someone very special, Mr. Abdullah Jallo. Is he already around? Mr. Jallo, please, you're most welcome on stage, especially representing Honorable Mama Kande here. Thank you so much, sir. We are honored to have you. Now, we are about to do something. This is the introduction of the book itself, and I will be reading that. I want us to pay attention to what you will be going into and what you'll be expecting when you eventually walk out of this room with this book in your hand. What is this novel? I want to speak through the lenses of other people. One such individual who is very close to Muhammad, his dear friend, Mr. Demba EWCC. His submission reads, "The battle of beliefs plunges into deep political and psychological trenches of post-colonial African societies." This mic has to behave. Give me another one. This is a very important stage. The battle of beliefs plunges into the deep political and psychological trenches of post-colonial African societies. This may be set in the fictional land of Sonkodu, but the emotional and political truths it explores are globally ringing, reflecting the fate of nations that have defeated their tyrants only to become haunted by newer, subtler forms of oppression. Much like George Orwell's Animal Farm, which warned readers that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Darboe's novel paints a grim picture of revolutions that were betrayed from within. The central character, Keluntan, is a reluctant revolutionary who, together with the force for change, helps unseat the feared tyrant, Sembeti. But what follows is not a national rebirth. It is an ideological erosion masked by promises of change. The griot narrator Jalidemba weaves this cautionary tale using vivid imagery that the battle is not just for power, but for memory, for truth, and for belief. Darboe's characters are carefully drawn archetypes. Sembeti is the quintessential dictator, ruthless, manipulative, and larger than life, evoking Orwell's Napoleon. Kellington stands as the tragic revolutionary, torn between his ideals and the corrupt machinery he inherits. Sophia, the fierce and defiant female voice, embodies the intersection of gender, of truth, and of resistance. She calls out the silence and complicity of patriarchy with the searing clarity of a Toni Morrison heroine. Her declaration that women are neither slaves nor subjects, defying men is a coerced mentality, resonates both as a feminist cry and a socio-political indictment. Stylistically, Darboe weaves oral storytelling, proverbs, griot chants, and political satire into a narration that feels rooted in West African traditions. Yet, the prose remains accessible and urgent. The rhythm of his sentences mimics drum beats, building tensions and releasing it in moments of raw philosophical insights. We did not rise to replace one master with another, Kellington says, in a moment of anguished clarity, capturing the central theme of clinical tyranny that threats the novel. Thematically, the battle of beliefs confronts the fragility of belief systems, just as Orwell illustrated the corruption of revolution and Gugi lamented the betrayal of peasants by the bourgeoisie elites. Darboe warned that democracy without critical memory and moral accountability becomes just another tool of domination. Jalidemba's lines, tyranny does not die, it shapeshifts, may well be the most powerful indictment of contemporary African politics and beyond. Though intellectually robust, the novel's density may be challenging for readers unfamiliar with allegory or oral narrative conventions. Some passages rely heavily on philosophical dialogue, slowing the pace. However, this is a small price to pay for a work that does not tell a story, but also demands introspection. In the words of Carl Jabi, the book deals more on political and social issues, taking more references from the fight against dictatorship, the fall of the coalition government, the role of diaspora, and how citizens quickly lost faith in a government. Sankodu becomes the utopian country that he creates as a metaphor to represent other countries in Africa, including the Gambia. He uses a narrative technique and deep allegory to represent the key players of the 2016 movement and similar interventions across Africa. The latter part of the book dwells on the gender issues of a typical Gambian society. Once you walk out from this room with this masterpiece in your hand, you are assured of exploring certain facets of life that are quite touching. Whether it is societal, whether it is political, whether it is philosophical, you will be having a masterpiece that shapes destinies. Like I said some 17 years ago when it was proclaimed in the British Parliament that history is more than the path left by the past. History influences the present and it can shape the future. That history we'll be making today. And we thank you so much for choosing to be here. Next on the agenda, we would have a speech from one of the family members. And I am told that this speech will be delivered by my beloved, my brother, my coach, Baba Y Darboe. Please welcome on stage.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. I think a few days ago, when I saw the flyers going around, say Ahmed is the moderator. I sent him a message. What I told him was, if not you, who else? I'm sure he'll do justice to this event. So thank you so very much. Traditionally, we find it very difficult when you have your elders here to deliver a speech. But I must first of all thank the family for this opportunity. We have our mom here, our wives, and sisters, nephews of Muhammad. But again, we have the friends of Muhammad, and this means a lot to us. We will definitely thank each and every one of you for coming to grace this very important occasion. Muhammad, as you all know him, is from a family of different brothers, sisters, and colleagues. But again, what happened or what transpired in Muhammad's absence is something that we appreciate as a family. You can see the team of Muhammad, none of his immediate family members are present. From the organization, the communication team, all these people are people that are not related by Muhammad in a very close relationship. But again, who is a family? That changed my perspective as who you call as a family. You don't need to be related with someone by the blood to call a family. So those team, Khalifa and your team, Ismaila and everyone, we are really grateful for a family. Thank you so much for standing by our brother. Thank you so much for staging this very beautiful event. And we hope that it will serve as an inspiration to others and even Muhammad to know that you have family among families. And these are people whom you know that you are not related to them by either blood or by marriage. So thank you so much. Again, to Muhammad, just want to tell him, I'm sure he's watching. This is something that we're not surprised. And I'm sure this is going to be one of his books. Knowing who he is, he wrote in his book that we families that discuss on social issues, political issues, to see ways to shape the society, to see what we will do to make a positive impact on the lives of people. So he has always been or has passion for writing. So I'm not surprised. It's no surprise to me and to the family that he wrote this book. He has always been writing ever since he was young, and then all these things are done not only by himself, but also he aligned himself to people that inspired him. So we're saying thank you so much, and then keep it up. We're so proud of you, and we hope that this book will serve as an inspiration to not only the people in the family, but also out there who serve as a mentor or a mentee to Muhammad. So at family level, we're saying thank you to each and every one of you. We appreciate you, and we hope that we'll have a very, very insightful discussions here. And also people who bought the book, and we appreciate you and everyone who contributed to the success of this event. Look at the sponsors, organizers. It's something that we really appreciate. We have our mom here and everyone. We're saying to Mohammed that we're proud of you. You are absent, but you have people here who valued you, who loved you, and keep up that momentum and never stop writing. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Darboe, and that was quite touching. He has said it actually goes beyond bloodlines. In the communication team for this launching, none of the immediate members of Mohammed's family are part of that team. But these are positions held by friends who are true to their word and the spirit of the bond that connects them. We appreciate Carl and your entire team. Now we have a presentation to make, and that will be followed by poetry. These are some gentlemen I always wish to sit down and listen to. Our poets will surprise you today. But before then, let's have the video. Madam, are you okay?
We need to shift a bit.
Yes, you need please. Just two guys. Just two of you, please.
I also want to watch it. You sure? I can move.
Yeah, it's fine there, yeah. Okay, on that. Yes.
Say, where the drawbacks changes is that today that's changed. A new meaning has entered the literary world and its name is the battle of beliefs. I stand before you not only as an editor at large for the striking debut, but also as a fellow architect of story, a proverbialist wordsmith, and a devoted servant to the sentence. This book, this moment, is a celebration of craft, courage, and confrontation. The battle of belief did not arrive as a whisper, it came roaring, confused, fiery, potent. It was a raw truth asking to be shaped, not silenced. And so, the journey began. I was invited to temper it without quickening it, to chisel without dulling the edge. The result is what you now hold in your hand. Not a book, but a made of carefully bound. The blacksmith was not perfect truth. This work required fire, and we gave it fire. This book is not for the faint-hearted. It doesn't pat you on the back. It doesn't poke you in the ribs. It does not offer comfort either. Rather, it offers a mirror. And mirrors, my friends, do not lie. Only reflect what we refuse to see. The cracked mirror shows just the pieces. In this page, with some model, a fictional book that is part here. There are no set only with systems, no villains, only people protecting their inherited beliefs like rusted swords. This is not fiction for escape, it is fiction for confrontation. Confrontation with doctrine, confrontation with silence, confrontation with culture, wrapped in fear and decorated in tradition. You see, not every cloth worn by the elder is sacred. Some just cover old wounds. Now, I went not just between the lines, but inside them, the heavy foot of a cross-stitched the satire. The careful balancing act of fire and money allegory. The footsteps of characters like Charlie Denver, walking between words. This, footprints. To mark Darboe, this book is your declaration. Your hand wrote it, but your courage carried it. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this journey. You chose truth over comfort, and as we say, the man who plants truth in a market square must first prepare his ears for gossip. You wrote boldly, you wrote bravely, and I was proud to stand beside that process even in its fiercest storms. Dear reader, this book is your inheritance now. Don't read it passively, wrestle with it, don't agree with everything, question everything. Don't look for comfort, look for clarity. What water instead, the true shape of the riverbed is revealed. This book is that water. So the Gambians, your culture, tension, these which are sewn into the story like fine painting to a royal robe. You are not just the setting of this book, you are the within it. So thank you for your voice, your intellect, and your time. To the attendees, readers, skeptics, dreamers, and more, thank you for choosing to gather here where minds meet instead of mouths shut. much for this great opportunity, and I look forward to more books with you.
Thank you so much. That was quite brilliant. Thank you so much. So she has challenged all of us not just to read, but to question everything. Yeah, to question everything. At this point, it will be a good time to have this sensational break. I am welcoming on stage our poets. Please welcome on stage Senu. Thank you. I'm so happy because I am in the midst of my kids. I will not call them children anyway. Yeah, I'm a proud homemaker here. And now I'm going to and I'm excited to do the same. So when you got that, do the Alright, I'll try and do justice to the point. That has to deal with the content of the book. And here it goes. Kamu timpa aku merasa diairkan. Di mana air bumi air ini sangat. Sisi berat air bumi. Lekarlah orang di air ini kan. Foto bola foto mana pun ada. Aku jarang boleh kaya pun. Aku kita tinggal di kita balik nak ada tiga sama. Gerakan kamu posisi dan sini semua berarti. Ntela mukifongoni nada la kabula wote nada la kadi kangibo lukwedi akita lukango lukwedi wadugo sana bara makunda hivi sasa roho ya dia makunda afai tena na fofono ndani bila hivi kama roba na kiketo kumakani ni tonya kan kufina kamani bali basira wadugo ama roho ni makunda nzalenda mani kwa look at these faces. The heartbreaking cries of the youths, the heartbreaking cries of the women in the market. Stand. Who is happy with the couple's heads filling up their pockets, beheading our economy using their privileges? See, I know this point will bring many media say this, but that is all right. I will use my voice to amplify it. My team, family, will capture the lines that they can see, and DJ is here to turn the words into visuals. No need to sugarcoat them. I will keep it clean and raw. See, my tongue is not a pill to be swallowed. It is a trigger bullet that is meant to be fired. So I will fire to blow away. The devil is praying from your skull. I will speak, and I am going to speak without fear. I am not doing this to harm you. So listen to these words that I'm about to toss into your heart. It looks like you lost it, and now you act like a man. Being promoted kamu barunya orang nantinya, natural manusia. Menjadi kepada orang yang berumah orang nantinya, orang kuliah. Ketika kita tidak ada yang baru nantinya, kita bawa boleh mulai dapat masuk. Kamu ini lolo wafani kita tidak berubah mungkin. Divine things in our hearts and mind will display by unfolding circumstances. We have common dreams behind the humble silence of hunger. See, with my voice of sincerity, I am deciding this point. I am here to ring the bell to allow you to wake up from your sleep. Because these people, they preach what they do not practice. They talk what they don't do. All they want is talk and go. They say they don't. But I say no, they do not. Our stomach are biting us and they do not care. See, that's the exactly to our hearts. Blind eyes lower, heart beat lower, heart beat, they are our source of our pain, the pain that they cause is death. See, my heart is heavily beating with exasperation and anger. I am not happy. Our system is sloppy, so if I have a heart and kidney problem, if I don't travel to overseas, I will die. A man's heart is always remembering when his woman is in labor. Stagnation. Our aspiration is always been more by losing who interested into. We are unhappy with our economic situation like a childless woman. We are suffering in our own yard like an orphan. Our suffering is laid so plain even the blind man can see. See, every time that I write, they said I am always against them. But what kind of citizen will sit down and watch his nation to get lost in the dark? When he got the pen to write, to set light for people to see. When he can be the eyes for the blind and the ears for the deaf. So you got to have someone as a master. They need to feel and need to learn. So you buy the spirit of seeing our parents going through is what tempted our brothers to risk their life into this journey. Some made it, some died. Mommy and daddy did not sit their eyes on their body. See, then you can't take this no more. Then be tired about the system that is not free. Then can't be any situation. Things are getting tough and rougher. You have to understand. Then you have to living in a stress and pain. So you have to put popular in the system. The dia mo atuli. Anya yung manfiti. Mabadamin ko ng albade ka. Ay tuloy yung suki. Na bumbo yung bunso ng albade. Baru, alila hidup yang ada fi mulu rumah, alila yang ada di guru tinggi, ke hamul namen tu, kan ada nafal mulu. Bahkan tapi itu masalah itu. Bapak seleting awak sudah kau kaya apa? Mul seleting tu mampu ni kau kaya apa? Bapak tu mul seleting berfikir bapak berada di atas muka. Disuruh mul seleting berada di muka. Nabi bapak seleting berada nadu nusmuka. Saya terjadi di semua provinsi dan provinsi. Di mana cara-cara kita bagi bentuk usaha kalau yang orang berubah bagaimana kita dan nama kepunyaan kita terutama begini enggak kalau begini orang hati rumah bagaimana kita itu wajib terima yang benar apa ini pada suami bagi atau saya berkata apa saya atau anak dia jodoh saya akan mengucapkan thank you.
That's the only union I will never respect you. Thank you so much. You see, and I saw somebody, Carl, it must have been Carl. Carl wrote something like, poetry is a religion. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? But poetry has a way of reaching deep into your heart. You get to see and hear the reality being brought before in a manner that you would never even imagine. And sometimes, even if you are hot, you cannot do much because it is poetry. It tears your heart. Thank you so much, Dalsimo. And now, next we have Jokes, who is going to fire some minds. Jokes, we have you. You most welcome on stage. It is only getting livelier now. Jokes, welcome. Thank you so much. We have some young brilliant kids in this country. Jokes, you're welcome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hi, Assalamualaikum. Thank you very much for being here. I'm very happy. I'm here in the midst of my sons too, because a great grandfather is also standing here before you. Alright, that is the Jarankas, right? Good. I'm going to recite a poem titled Dundinbi. Dundinbi, that is in Wolof, talking about the livelihood, which is corresponding to today's event or the book in general. I hope it goes well. Yen, man maa ngi laaj naka la ñu sàmmi suñu gëdd ndax suba ak guddi nangu ñu wax dëgg ndax lii ñoo ko en suñu bopp ndax du ndogal ko nañ ko teggi ñoo ko moom jarul sàkku ñaan ràmbala sukku aha kay na xoolal lu jëm si wàllu marché bi dafa yéeme aha kay yéeme na prévoit bu set yokku laajteel astu bàyyi góora faatuma la koddu na lu doon dërëm tey doon na fukk jëm benn dërëm wala saam fukk tey amatul tey saami jëm téeméer kenn ñëwul wax saam fukk askan baa ngi waaru ñu ngi jaxasoo jaxle waloo enu suñu loxo bi daalu tamuñ fuñ ko fukk xanaa muñ matu suñu yiwu moom dégg nañ ko wàññi ñu géddu xoolal suñu ronxal ñu ngi tuuru te suñu ronxal la nguur yi jël siimee cereem tuuti ñu si liggéey di si tibb xool ba tekku duñu nogatu waaye ma xamal leen lu ngeen wanu di ngeen ko wëccu si nii maa si naa askan baa ngi xiif ñu ngi lox di karkar mu ne ñu péngu lii dafa métti kon foog ñu toog wax su li lu fi suulu man nag duma mës a noppi mukk ndax Wolof Njaay nee na lu ëpp tuuru kon bëri na réew bi jar naa gestu xool jant wala penku xool réew bi fu mu toll ne géej bi jaay nañ ko ñu ngi ko junjee aha kay baaraam yaa ngi joxoñte te digg moom kaane la de kum laal dina saf-saf de wala nga jaxasoo comme buy jafte ba léegi si dundin réew yoon xat pas seer affaire ndox ak courant moom du ko yaagaa joytu ma ne jàng mi mbay jënd ak njaay bi fu mu toll ki ñëmin ko wax ñun néew di doole yi naka la ñoo def néew di doole yi maa ngi laaj naka la ñuy def saa soo déggee nga dégg yokk neen fii lépp a seer kon ñu suñ gaal ana kañ na moo dem ba di teer waa Baara Faal suñ gaal kañ na moo dem ba di teer mbara sa mbiroo Angleterre lii jana laajte na ñu ni neen ñu ngi xuloo ñu ngi yéeroo di ŋaañoo na ñu wax dëgg ñu ngi sànniwante yi xeer comme ñu nekk si guerre lii doy na waar ñu ni neen ñu ngi bés bu jot ñu ngi xëy di gàddu i séeméer di fi gor i bant ñu ñu wala asil keer kon ñu suñu dëkk kan moo dem ba nduroo Angleterre ma laaj ma Baara Faal lii daw na yaram lii mu ngi yéeme ma Baara ana ndaw yi bët bu set ñu ngi xëy di gont da ñii talee neen seen bakken dem yooni gannaaw rek dund Angleterre bigal keer bigal mère ak père ndax fii ñu ne dafa tar mon frère c'est très compliqué dans la Gambie maanaam affaire bi dafa tar kon mag ndaw góor ba di jigéen ñu gestu taxaw suñu réew boo dee xool yeeg xalaat yi taxawal suñu réew lu dëng ñu jubante lu tilim ñu raxas ba mu set boo dee xool yeeg xalaat yi taxawal suñu réew nga suñu réew la si baaxee ñun la si bonee ñun la waaye nag yàlla bàyyi sa tool kon jóg jot na nelaw amatul nañ jóg liggéey si réew. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Jarang.
They said in your
Sorry,
face.
sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Jarang kol ko nyomin ko ita nyewa sang. Thank you so much. Can I get the laptop? Yes, sir. So we are coming into a very important aspect of any book launching, and that is where we would be speaking or hearing from our esteemed panelists. This will come before the book review and also the book launcher's official remarks. We will have a panel discussion. This panel discussion will center on feminism and how it is misconstrued in the Sonkodu society. We would also be looking at the political evolution, the rise and fall of the force for change, and the power dynamics. Another panelist will look at Jalidemba, the importance of socio-political and traditional issues contained in the book. We'll also be looking at a comprehensive literary examination, an in-depth look at narrative techniques and literary elements used in the book. And finally, we would also have a very interesting panelist to speak on the battle between hope and pessimism. And we'll be looking at cynicism and citizenship, as well as the new Moses. So this panel conversation is about to begin now. And first, I will call on Mr. Lamin Mani to give us his version of the story. Mr. Mani's conversation with us is going to be on political evolution, the rise and fall of the force for change and power dynamics as contained in the book. The whole essence is try to relate his words to what happens in a typical African society. Then the words will sink. Welcome to the Mr. Mani. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. And first of all, before I say anything, I would say that was 2-0 for Nyomi. Now 3 here. So that's 3-0 for Nyomi already. So I am delighted to be here because when Javi called me and told me to be a panelist on this launch of this book, I was humbled. I was really honored to be considered as a worthy panelist here. And I took that with a lot of pride and a lot of humility as well, even though the two might sound mutually exclusive. I went through the book. He left it at my office in the evening. I took it in the evening and I couldn't put it down until I finished reading it. Really engaging book. The following day, I said, okay, I'm going to leave it for a day, digest it, and come back to it. I came back to it a third time and I read it. I said, this young man is brilliant. And then somebody told me he's from Jara. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. These are our descendants, all right? Our kids. So if you have something as good as this, I am not only proud, but I'm not surprised. So thank you very much to the family, to the friends, for giving us somebody like Muhammad. We need young people like that, people who believe in themselves, people who know that they have talent innate in them, and who can express that in a way that is going to make us not only proud, but will make us confident in the future of this country. Knowing that we have young people who are ready to take up the mantle of leadership in this country. Knowing that these are people who will inspire other youths to do similar things and not be scared to start, not be scared to go for change. And that's what the theme of what you asked me to talk about, evolution. Evolution in the sense that evolution means change. And change, as they say, is the only constant phenomenon. Change happens all the time, all the time. And we have to believe in that. And for that to happen, we have to believe in ourselves, particularly you, the young generation. We know that the young generation of this country has been sacrificed because of all the wrong policies. But when you see people like Muhammad write books like that, you say, well, there is hope. There is hope in the sense that there are other people who will take this as an example and try to do something at least as good. So we're really proud of that. And I say thank you to all of you for inviting me to this discussion. I want to say also a big hello and thank you to the members of the panel who are here with me. This distinguished panel, I'm really grateful to be part of that. And thank you to the friends who made this happen, who are the extended family and probably the closest family to Muhammad. Thank you all for doing this. Now, going to the theme itself, about political evolution and the force for change. Muhammad's book is very, very timely in the sense that it has come at a time when this country is at a crossroads, when we have a government in place which has been put in place to replace a tyranny, which has been put in place to replace what we did not desire for this country anymore when we said never again. And a country where we have been for 22 years subjected to one way of thinking in this country, where we just have to be, Muhammad put it very well in his book, fear. Fear has been instilled in Gambians. Fear has been instilled in the political class and everybody. Fear has been instilled in scholars who turn, according to Muhammad again very well said, who turn their ink into a way of just singing praises for the autocracy. That is what we must resist. Because what happens then is that people stop thinking. And when we stop thinking, we become the tools of repression. We become the tools of tyranny. Tyranny progresses because we refuse to take responsibility for our lives. Because we refuse to take responsibility for what we can do to change ways in this country. And that's where the clash of the beliefs, or the battle of beliefs as he calls it, is important. We have a group of people in any African society in any, probably all over the world, where you have a ruling class that would want to monopolize power and capture the state to their own benefit and to the detriment of the rest of the population. Now, are we bold enough to say to them, no, we'll not let this happen. We will stand up and fight for our rights, fight to get change in this country, fight to think for ourselves. Because if we refuse to think for ourselves, we abdicate our responsibility to the ruling class to decide what to do with our fate, what to do with us, how they run this country, and we only become subservient. Because then what do? We want to belong. We want to be part of that group. And we get to a point where we extol corruption, wrongdoing, and everything that's wrong in our society. It is amazing to see people in our society today say, oh, well, the government is doing well, the government is doing that, the government is doing this. When in your heart of hearts, if you are honest to yourself, you know that that is not happening. You know that we have a government that is taking our collective wealth and privatizing it, using it for their own private development and advancement, to the detriment of the country. You see, these things prosper because we abdicate responsibility, because we are scared to speak up, because we want to belong. We want to belong so much that we fear talking about what is wrong. And that is what Muhammad pointed out in this book. When he talked about Sembeti. Sembeti is that person who is oppressing the country, who is doing what he likes and everybody has to dance to his tune. Because we fear Sembeti, because we have given Sembeti so much of our power that he is turning it against us and using it as a tool to oppress us. We give Sembeti the power. Sembeti came in the way he came in, but we condoned it. We made it easy for him because we abdicated responsibility. We refused to fight for what is right. We refused to stand up and say, no, this is not going to happen. So we all are careful not to get hurt, not to get our family members hurt. We all fall in line. And when you fall in line, Sembeti works all over you. And that's what Jelly Demba was reminding us. Power. Power, you have to be careful of power. You have to be able to control power. You have to be able to speak truth to power. You have to be able to tell power, we, the people, are the only owners of the power. And you see, if we don't do that, what happens is the rest of the world, starting with Santosu, will just look at us and say, wait, let them settle their own problems. Let them take care of themselves. Once they start, we will come to help. Santosu has done what it could, but it has to start in Sonkodu. Sonkodu and its people are the ones who are supposed to take lead in defining and designing their future. That is the only way to go. Responsibility is something we cannot abdicate. We've got to a point where if we don't, this book reminds me of not only George Orwell's 1984, but Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German Lutheran priest, his book about stupidity, and Friedrich Nietzsche's book about the Übermensch and the herd mentality. You cannot, for the sake of belonging, be so blinded and be so evasive of responsibility that you hand everything over. Today, going by Bonhoeffer's works on stupidity and ignorance, what happens is you cannot discuss and debate with ignorance, because ignorance will only repeat what it is told. It is its master's voice. It doesn't reason. It is close to debate. It doesn't hear what you say. It will only shout and mock. When you try to debate with ignorance, because it doesn't have the tool to discuss with you, it will shout at you because the only thing it knows is shouting matches and being loud-mouthed. If that doesn't work, it tries to mock you. And you don't want to come down to the level of ignorance, so you rise above it. But by rising above it, we leave it there to continue doing what it does. So how do we counter that? Somebody said, you don't wrestle with pigs in mud. You all get dirty, but the pig enjoys the dirt. So you don't go in there with them. If they are being ignorant and self-effacing, because that is what they want to do, because that is what they think serves them, you rise above that and you challenge. You challenge, you don't accept it. You see, what happens is when you have this kind of situation in a country, anywhere, in his allegory or in any real situation in Africa, you have people who feel that the only way to go about this is to just lay prostrate, let them walk all over you out of self-preservation, because you are scared to speak out. You are scared that you might get hurt. But the only way to stop being hurt is to stand up and to fight. Otherwise, they will plug us one at a time. I have this very fond quote from the Italian fascist, Benito Mussolini. He says, if you want to plug a chicken until you finish without anybody noticing, take the chicken, every day you pull out one feather. Every day you pull out one feather. People don't realize that you are plugging the chicken. By the time they realize, the chicken is almost bald. They say, what happened to the chicken? All the feathers are gone. Yeah, because somebody's been plucking one feather at a time. If we don't stand up to fight, what happens is the tyranny which we had before and which we see developing will plug us one at a time. Arrest one, disappear one, kill one, exile one. And by the time it comes to your turn, there's nobody to fight for you. There's nobody to fight for you. And that is where we have this battle of beliefs, because we have to stand up and say, hey, this is our belief, this is our country, and we're not going to let anybody think for us, we're going to think for ourselves. And if we start thinking for ourselves, we challenge authority, we challenge the status quo, we challenge what is being done in our name. And then we say, not in my name. You will not do it because we will not stand for it. It's easier said than done. But you have to be bold. We have to be able to stand up for ourselves and our future and the future of our children. If we don't, it's going to go the same way it was before. Because what happens? Corruption. Corruption fights back. When you think we've taken care of corruption, it metamorphoses and comes in a different shape and comes back at you. What we have is what happened in almost every country where you have change. Two things. The revolution, either the revolution eats its own kids, as Robespierre of the French Revolution said, the revolution eats its own kids. You saw here, Sembeti here before, arresting, killing, disappearing the people who took power with him. And the others all fell in line. Once that happens, there is no end in sight to the corruption and autocracy. It's either that, or we look for another way. And that way usually is you will have the same corruption trying to come back in a different format, and you replace the old idol with a new idol. Because we don't want to think for ourselves, we just want to abdicate our responsibility to that person. So what happens? Corruption co-opts the other ones who were there and brings them back in, and then they start all over again. And we have changed, but change has not been materially effective, because we have replaced one idol with another idol, one autocrat with another autocrat. And the change is supposed to be to move from an obnoxious system to a system which is going to be useful and helpful and meaningful for the country. If you're just going to change one idol and replace it with another idol, that's no point. Why do we go through all of that just for change? Just to have the same people? So the change has to be meaningful, and it has to come from the people. And we've got to stand up and say, what we want is change. If you cannot deliver change, we're going to get rid of you like we got rid of Sembeti. And that is possible. That is possible, but it has to be led through people like Muhammad, giving us this kind of book and showing us the way to go. Because this fight has to be multifaceted. It has got to be intellectually based with people like Muhammad giving us food for thought. To be able to reflect and say, wait a minute, yeah, we know this is happening. You know? So let's do something about it. It has to be political. People on the political front standing up and fighting. It has to be economic as well, because we have to make sure that we put in place the economic tools to take our country to a different level and not just stay in the same exploitative autocracy. And that's why I like also the part where he brought in feminism. And that's extremely important. When a man stands here and talks about feminism, people will caricature and say, oh yeah, he's trying to be nice to the women. No. I have a mother like everybody here. I have a wife. I have a daughter. I have nieces whom I love dearly, like everybody else. Now, would you want to see your mother, your daughter, your niece, or your aunt being refused their rights simply because they are women? Being passed over for promotion simply because they are women? It does not happen unless we stand up and fight for it. Look at the current government. How many women ministers have we had since the advent of the change? How many women ministers have we had? How many female permanent secretaries have we had? How many heads of departments or agencies have we had? And the excuse is, oh, well, the woman is going to have a child and you're going to have 3 to 6 months of maternity leave, blah, blah, blah. It's a whole lot of nonsense, excuse my language. Because women are doing us a favor by procreating. Thank you. By procreating, and we are the ones who should be grateful because they go through so much. When you see the health facilities in this country, every time a woman procreates, her life is at risk. You're not sure what's going to come out of it or not. So we have to be able to stand up and fight for our women folk to make sure that we get them where we need to, and that is the only way, because you cannot develop a country by leaving out half of the population. And women constitute 51 to 53%, depending on whose statistics you take, 51 to 53% of the population of this country. You cannot develop this country by leaving out that segment of the population. So let's do that. Let's continue this change and this discussion. This book is too good to be just in a very, very short session like this. I hope you'll organize other sessions where we'll be able to discuss this book in greater detail. I thank you all very much for your attention, and I'm humbled by this invitation. And I say to my Jaranka kids that I am proud that you have given us Muhammad. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malik. Thank you so much. That was a brilliant look at the book. And obviously, if we would have an introspection, we get to realize that that is the essence of literature. It is supposed to evoke some feelings and sentiments as well as deep thoughts in you. If you have read Ant Hills of the Savannah by Chinua Achebe, it typically tells you what happens in most African countries, whether it is military rule, and now that are successfully metamorphosed into civilian rules across Africa, most of the people who are the first to be eliminated will be the ones who rise up to power with you. And subsequently, how others get disappeared and how others are forced into exile until another order, a new order is established, which most of the time does not rhythm with the realities or rhyme with the realities of the day. And so that was a brilliant look at it, Mr. Mane. We appreciate that so much. Now, we understand that the Jalis are very important in our society and in every African society. That is why we would have Mr. Jobate to look at the importance of socio-political and traditional issues that were highlighted in the book. And this, he will be looking at demystifying Jali Demba. Please welcome on stage. Thank you. Is it still charging? Okay, good.
Huh. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Let me follow footsteps of Mr. Mane to also express my delight to be invited and and share this with the panelists, but of course with the audience. And kadimbal fana be konton, meron limbare muson le musol be. The book is amazing, and so since I was limited to a particular area, I'm not used to writing speeches, but I thought this is such that I'll sit and put my thoughts together. So I have tried to do exactly that here. So to start is to say the battle of beliefs. So the fictional West African nation of Sonkodo serves as a vivid allegory for societies emerging from the shadows of dictatorship, grappling with the fragile promise of freedom and the weight of the past. At the heart of this narrative stands Jali Demba, the chronicler, the griot-like figure whose weathered notebook and poetic insights capture the socio-political and traditional currents shaping Sonkodu's turbulent journey. Through his unflinching observations, Jali demystifies the complexities of power, betrayal, cultural erosion, and the struggle for collective memory, offering a lens into the challenges of post-colonial African societies and beyond. This analysis explores Jali Demba's pivotal role in illuminating key socio-political and traditional issues, such as the cyclical nature of power, the fragility of freedom, corruption, and the tension between tradition and modernity, and distills the timeless lessons they hold for present and future generations. As Sonkodu navigates the aftermath of tyranny, Jali's voice urges us to question, remember, and act, ensuring that the battle for a just society endures beyond the pages of this powerful narrative. Jali Demba is more than a narrative device. He is the moral and philosophical anchor of Sonkodu, navigating the turbulent aftermath of dictatorship. Sonkodu may be a fictional land, but indeed, the realities of this land are not very different from the history and experiences of many an African nation, including the Gambia. Through this weathered notebook and poetic reflections, Jali Demba embodies the memory, questioning authority and eliminating truths that others overlook. His significance lies in his ability to weave socio-political and traditional issues into a cohesive allegory, offering profound lessons for present and future generations. Below, I explore Jali Demba's role, the key socio-political traditions or traditional themes he highlights, and the enduring lessons they impact. But before I delve into the role of Jali Demba in this book, let me first highlight the role of the griot in our Mandinka society, which is the same in the other ethnic groups in Senegambia and across West Africa. In 1235, when the Mali Empire was founded under the leadership of Sunjata Keita, a charter was drawn as the constitution of the empire. That charter, called the Kurukam Fuga, or the Mande Charter, had 44 articles. The charter recognized fundamental rights and freedoms in ways that were more advanced than any human rights document in Europe at the time. The charter also established institutions, set standards, and imposed obligations with checks and balances, among other elements for the effective governance and development of the Mali Empire. Article 1 of the Kurugam-Fuga Charter provides the structure and the composition of the Mali Empire. It states, Article 1, the Great Mande Society is divided into 16 clans of quiver carriers, 5 clans of marabouts, 4 groups of Nyamakala, and 1 group of slaves. Each one has a specific activity and role. End of quote. Then Article 2 is focused on the Nyamakala, and this is the group in which the griot belonged. It states their role and responsibility as thus. Article 2 says, the Nyamakala have to devote themselves to tell truth to the chiefs, to be their counselors, and to defend by the speech the established rulers and the order upon which the whole territory. One of the 4 groups of the Nyamakala are the Jadi, or the griot. They are the ones who can challenge rules and authority and everything and everyone in the empire. Their specific roles are 4. 1, they are the depositories of the traditions and the archives of the Mali Empire. 2, they are the master of the word. So the poets belong to the Jadi. 3, they are the counselors of the kings. And 4, they are the artists and the musicians. The Kuyate and the Jobate were the heads of the house of Jadi. With this background, one will now understand Jalia, or the role of griots in our Mandinka society, and appreciate, therefore, the role Jali Demba played in Sonkodu. I must say, however, though sadly, like most aspects of our culture, Jalia continues to suffer a lot of neglect and abuse today. That is a discussion for another day. But let me now turn to the role of the great Jali Demba in the Battle of Beliefs. Jali Demba is introduced as the chronicler, a gaunt, dignified figure clad in an indigo robe, carrying a tattered notebook that symbolizes his commitment to recording Sonkodu's history. Unlike the revolutionaries or politicians who drive the plot, Jali neither leads nor follows. He observes and remembers. His role mirrors what is stipulated in the Kurugam-Fuga Charter, serving as a repository of the cultural memory and a critic of power. His poetic metaphors such as, I quote, "You cannot hold water in a clenched fist," end of quote. Or also saying, "Tyranny does not die, its shape shifts." Break down complex socio-political dynamics into accessible truths, making him a bridge between the past, present, and the future. Jali's detachment allows him to see what others miss, that is the cyclical nature of power, the fragility of revolutions, and the tension between tradition and modernity. His reflections, often delivered in solitude by the rivers or on the trees, underscore his role as a conscience for Sonkodu, urging the reader to question narratives of progress and heroism. By refusing to take sides, Jali embodies impartiality, yet his sharp critiques of both the old regime of Sembeti and the new order under Kelungtan's Force for Change reveal his commitment to truth over loyalty. In terms of socio-political issues highlighted by Jali Demba, one in the context of cyclical nature of power and betrayal. Jali Demba's observations expose the recurring pattern of revolutions turning into regimes. He notes, I quote, "I watched revolutions turn into regimes, highlighting how the force for change, initially celebrated as liberators, begins to mirror Sembeti's authoritarian tendencies. The sting of veto, Kelungtan's exclusion of former comrades, illustrates how power consolidates, sidelining dissenters. Jali's metaphor, tyranny changes form, warns that without accountability, new leaders inherit the flaws of their predecessors. What is the lesson for us in this? Is that power must be tempered by accountability. Present and future generations must build systems, constitutions, checks and balances that mirror or prioritize justice over personalities to prevent the cycle of betrayal. This point mirrors the Gambia after the 1994 coup, when dictator Jammeh edited the draft constitution to arrogate all powers to himself. But this is not what we witness. Is this not what we witness today as well? With President Barrow jettisoning the 2020 draft, only to impose his own document, loaded with unchecked powers for himself. Number two, he talked about fragility of freedom. Jalidemba underscores that freedom is not mere absence of a tyrant, but the continuous struggle against complacency. He writes, I quote, "Freedom is not the fall of a tyrant, it is the fall of remembering." The chameleonic incident, where Sembeti's claims of electoral fraud sow doubt, reveals how fragile a new democracy can be when memory fades. The people's initial silence after the revolution and their later cynicism reflects a society struggling to sustain its hard-won liberty. The lesson is that freedom requires active remembrance and participation. Future generations must guard against apathy, ensuring that civic engagement through voting, dialogue, and protest remains vibrant to protect democratic gains. How many societies have we seen emerge from dictatorship only to return back to dictatorship? Why? Because after dictatorship, citizens say dictatorship cannot ever come back. Complacency and forgetfulness take hold of them. Freedom and democracy cannot protect themselves. Only the people can protect them. On corruption and impunity, Jalidemba laments the persistence of corruption, noting, I quote, "Beneath the plunder still unaccounted for, beneath the heavy silence of justice unserved." The new regime's failure to deliver on promises such as hospitals without medicine and unpunished human rights violators breeds disillusionment. Citizens like Makunda and Yusuf voiced this frustration, describing corruption as the roots of an old baobab that no one can pull out. Jali's role as a chronicler amplifies this voice, exposing systemic flaws. And there the lesson is transparency and accountability are non-negotiable. Present and future generations must demand open governance and judicial independence to root out corruption and ensure justice. One of the most important areas for me was number 4, the danger of forgetting. The danger of forgetting. Jali Demba's central mission is to combat forgetting. As he writes, "I simply remember." He warns that the people forget too quickly, allowing betrayals and unfulfilled promises to fade. The fading of revolutionary zeal into slogans and the rebranding of old loyalties illustrate how memory is manipulated. Jali's journey served as a counter-narrative, preserving truths that power seeks to erase. And the lesson is memory is a weapon against oppression. Lamin talked about never again. Future generations must preserve historical truths through education, storytelling, and documentation to hold leaders accountable and prevent the repetition of past mistakes. This is a huge lesson for the Gambia, which is undergoing a transitional justice process for the past 9 years. The heart of this process is the truth-telling exercise through the TRRC and Janet Commission, the reports of which, if ignored, risks a return of dictatorship and the repetition of even more atrocities and corruption in this country. Thus, in the area of traditional issues, Jali Demba spoke about the clash between tradition and modernity. Jali Demba captures the tension between traditional values and modern influences through characters like Grandma Mbasibi and Sophia. Mbasibi's folk tales about trees and frogs emphasize the wisdom of tradition, while Sophia's advocacy for gender equality and technology represents modernity. Afang Lang's defense of cultural norms like circumcision, clashes with Jalamang's call for feminist reforms, illustrating a generational divide. Jali's neutral stance allows him to reflect both sides, noting, I quote, the abyss has no face, but it holds all voices. The lesson is, let us balance tradition with progress. Present and future generations should respect cultural heritage while embracing reforms that promote equality and innovation, ensuring traditions evolve without stifling change. Change is the only permanent reality, and every society on earth has culture. Therefore, what we must seek is conscious change, which can only which we can only analyze and control, and can unthinking attachment, and not an unthinking attachment to practices and structures that could only keep us stagnant, weak, and divided. On the role of storytelling and collective memory, as a griot, Jani Demba embodies the traditional African practice of oral storytelling, using metaphors like the veil of rain, a critique to propaganda, Grandma Mbasibi's tales, and the Bantaba discussions reinforce the importance of communal dialogue in preserving identity. Jani's insistence on remembering, I quote, he said, history is not a scroll locked in a museum, underscores storytelling's role in holding societies together. A lesson that storytelling preserves identity and truth. Future generations must continue oral and written traditions to maintain cultural cohesion and challenge distorted narratives. From a human rights perspective, storytelling is a powerful tool to reveal individual and societal injustice and shine a light on shrinking human rights spaces. On community dialogue, the Bantaba and tea culture symbolize traditional spaces for debate and reflection, as seen in the heated exchanges among Pature, Malang, and Suleiman. Janidembo observes these dialogues, noting their role in exposing divisions and fostering hope. His presence ensures that even divisive voices are recorded, preserving the community's complexity. The dialogue strengthens communities. Present and future generations must maintain open forums for discussion, even when contentious, to build unity and address societal challenges. This is yet another critical lesson for the Gambia and societies in transition to uphold the freedoms of expression and the media as means to not only promote transparency and accountability, but by so doing also advancing the objectives of peace and nonviolence. After highlighting the socio-political and traditional issues and offer relevant lessons drawn from the book, let me end by providing general lessons for present and future generations on various themes I have discovered in this book. Let me state that Johnny Demba's chronicling in the Battle of the Beliefs offers timeless lessons for navigating socio-political and traditional challenges. One is the transition from Sambati's tyranny to Clinton's flawed leadership shows that power corrupts without checks. Generations must prioritize institutional accountability over charismatic leaders, ensuring that no one becomes a Moses crowned with unchecked authority. Two, active citizenship over cynicism. There is warning that cynicism is our shield now, but it is a prison too. Urges citizens to move beyond resignation. Present and future generations must engage actively through voting, advocacy, and protest to shape just societies. On heritage and progress, the debates over tradition versus modernity highlight the need for a synthesis that respects cultural roots while embracing equitable reforms. Future generations should integrate traditional wisdom with modern advancements to build inclusive societies. And Jani's insistence on remembering teaches that historical awareness prevents the repetition of oppression. Education systems and cultural practices must prioritize historical literacy to empower future generations. The diverse voices in Sonkodu, from Sophia's feminism to Mbasibi's folklore, show that progress lies in inclusive dialogue. Generations must create spaces like the Bantaba to amplify all perspectives, fostering unity amid diversity. Finally, Jali Demba, as the chronicler of Sonkodo, demystifies the complexities of a society grappling with its past. His reflections on socio-political issues, power, freedom, corruption, and memory, and traditional tensions between heritage and modernity, storytelling, and community offer a mirror for real-world struggles, particularly in post-colonial African contexts. For present and future generations, Jali's lessons emphasize dialogue, vigilance, active citizenship, balanced progress, historical awareness, and inclusive dialogue. As he writes, I do not lead nor follow, I simply remember, reminding us that memory and truth are the foundations of lasting change. By heeding these lessons, societies can break the cycle of tyranny and build a future where beliefs unite rather than divide. Muhammad, I commend Muhammed Y. Darboe, my glorious grandson, profusely and encourage him to continue writing and never to stop. Indeed, he has emerged as a strong voice in Gambian literature with this debut novel, The Battle of Beliefs, which has an invaluable contribution to the liberation of the minds of our people and the building of our society, a better society. I say to him, congratulations, and I thank you very much for kind attention. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Giovanni. I don't lead, I don't follow, I just remember. So with those words now, we will take a break. With those words now, we will take a break, and inshallah, when we come back, we will have the rest of the panelists to speak to us, and we'll also get contribution from the audience here. So please, let's come back here after 15 minutes for the rest of the program. Thank you so much.